Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another live stream, and thank you so much for tuning in for another show. I mean, it's anything but a ceasefire, what we're seeing in Gaza now, despite all of the talks about the ceasefire and potentially going into phase 2. And at the end of the day, we do hope that things do work out, but there are some very concerning signs lately in relation to, well, the continued suffering of the Palestinian people in Gaza with the continued barbarism of Satan's chosen ones, alongside Israel not allowing aid to go into the Gaza Strip to the sufficient levels. A recent report that was speaking about the levels of martyrs and wounded since the ceasefire took effect less than a month ago in total, so we're talking about 24 days or so. 240 people were butchered by the genocidal terrorists of Israel and 607 wounded. These are people who were directly killed, shot, dead. As in, we're not talking about side effects, any of the different other reasons that you may have for people dying because of the continued genocide inside of Gaza. And multiple reports, including UN reports, are talking about devastating numbers here. Number one, the United Nations is saying that 75,000 people are living in only 100 of their buildings in Gaza. Imagine how overcrowded they are. Two, only 30% of the aid is going in. So despite the hundreds of aid trucks that are going into the Gaza Strip now, you're talking about 30% only. Israel just today wounded 3 girls next to a wedding in the Shuja'iyya area, shooting people for no reason, just for fun, and they're still exploding buildings in multiple parts of Gaza, despite the ceasefire. According to them, we are targeting Hamas, locations that might be used by Hamas, and they're destroying them. Not that they lust destruction and blood. Now, what's concerning about this is, of course, the numbers. Well, 240, 607, almost 1,000 total killed and wounded in less than a month. If that goes on, then we're talking about what? 2,400 killed a year, and that's supposed to be acceptable, assuming we continue down with the ceasefire. And it's not just here as well, in Lebanon too. Israel kills people on a day-to-day basis in Lebanon, by the way, and that's almost become like no news, as if it's totally normal. And it's perfectly fine. They can kill whoever they want, and we just need to remain quiet and continue living on with our lives as normal. That was just earlier on. Today, 2 people, regular attacks. Moving back to Gaza, and of course the West Bank, every single day they kill people. What's worrying about this ceasefire now is the fact that it doesn't appear to be that there's a breakthrough with phase 2. That's the problem. Now, one might have thought that, okay, there are certain breaches in phase 1. The Palestinian resistance will show some leniency, and then phase 2 should be more solid. But it wouldn't be surprising if the Israeli side has another agreement or a side agreement with the Trump administration to allow them to kill more people. But there was a statement coming from one of the Hamas officials, named Musa Abu Razouq, said that a military force that serves as a replacement for the occupation army in Gaza is unacceptable. More and more talks are coming now about this phase 2 and the international forces, and the fact that the Palestinian side still has to justify or, say that, oh, we're not going to accept an international force working on behalf of Israel or doing the dirty work for Israel is concerning. It's concerning for various reasons. Number one, that option is still on the table. How on earth can that option be on the table? with the mediators, with anyone talking about it. I mean, I know that the Zionists have mouthpieces online and in some media outlets, of course, most of the corporate media. Some of the people who claim to be supporting the Palestinian cause also going on the offensive against the Palestinian resistance and its arms, knowingly or unknowingly serving Israel eventually. And some people are saying that this is the solution. Yeah, well, disarm, as in don't have anything, and let Israel have whatever it wants so that they can go and, slaughter infants and maim infants easily without any problems. What do you think, that if the Palestinian side didn't fight Israel, that Israel wouldn't have continued and ethnically cleansed Gaza completely? Wasn't that the aim? That was the declared aim. I'm sorry, but if you listen to Israeli politicians now, they're still talking about expelling the Palestinians from the West Bank. I'm talking about people, ministers in the Israeli government. Ministers in the Israeli government. I was listening to an interview on one of the Israeli media outlets earlier on with one of the senior figures in the Israeli government, ruling class. He's saying that this land is much better off without the Arabs. This land is much better off without the Arabs, and that's the ideal situation. Everything, everyone. And they're primarily targeting the West Bank. So you're talking about an entity here that still has genocidal intent and is still run by genocidal motives and is still committing a genocide on the ground. Nothing really ended. It's just slow-mo, as in instead of 2,000, 200 a month. Instead of 6,000 wounded, 600 a month. Yeah, but there's still something ongoing. And that's the worrying sign about the entry with phase 2, because now clearly, well, number one, Donald Trump and his administration are trying to show as if they are, powerful in front of Israel and not really controlled by Israel, because they managed to find this formula. And although there could be a level of substance behind that where there would be certain clashes, that of course doesn't take away the general approach, which is, well, the American administration is strategically tied with Israel. And hence why now they're so worried about the image of Israel. And everyone is campaigning for Israel. Yesterday I had an interview with Stu Peters. During that interview, we spoke about a few of the recent speeches that we had in the United States. I didn't share them on the video. I'll share them with you here so you can understand how desperate things are and what are they trying to do moving forward. Let's listen firstly.
I will say,
Ted Cruz. Let's have a look at what he said.
If we wake up 5 years down the road and we've lost our party, if both parties have now embraced hatred of Israel, we will have lost our country. I will say, if we wake up
and if we, both parties, start to hate Israel, then we lost our country. That's Ted Cruz. Then we had Pastor John Hagee. Listen to what Pastor John Hagee had to say.
The Bible proves that the Jewish people are the most unique people on the face of the earth. They are a chosen people. They are a covenant people. They are a cherished people. They are the apple of God's eye. The unchallengeable fact of the Bible is that Israel and the Jewish people are unique. Listen, Israel did not choose this uniqueness. God chose it for them. Listen to David's prayer in 1 Chronicles 17:20. It's one of the most powerful words in the scripture. O Lord, there is none like you, nor is there any God beside you. And who is like your people Israel? Listen, the one nation on the earth whom God went to redeem for himself as a people. Chosen and still cherished. Deuteronomy 7:6, for you, Israel, are a chosen people, a holy people to the Lord your God. The Lord your God has chosen you to be a people for himself. Listen to this next sentence. A special treasure above all the people on the face of the earth. That includes the United States of America.
Unique people above everyone else on the face of the earth. Oh, someone is desperate. They are desperate, though. They are desperate. And the reason that they're pushing all of this now, we even had Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather. Listen to Floyd Mayweather.
And like I said before, I'm not with you guys 10%, 50%. I will always be the voice for the people in Israel. I will always stand behind the country of Israel, the one and only Floyd Money Mayweather in Israel. I will always be here for you guys when you guys don't have a voice.
Even Floyd Mayweather is now going again to the Republican Jewish coalition. I don't know. Does this have anything to do with it? One of the guys on X posted Floyd Mayweather's speech with Israel, and then he posted this. Does he have to do anything with that and with the network that was happening there that some people are saying is also linked to the Epstein case? Or is it just about money? Or is this another blackmailing thing that took place with Floyd Mayweather? Or it's just money, you know? He calls himself Floyd Money Mayweather. And maybe Israel had, you know, well, they offered people over 150 million. I mean, for heaven's sake. Donald Trump, over 260 million in total, according to AIPAC Tracker, or 227. Over 200 million. Why are they doing that now? Well, of course, the influence is fading away. They are panicking. Even in conferences for other conservative organizations, they are being criticized. More of the opposing voices of Zionism inside of the United States are rising and are being accepted by some senior figures and think tanks that belong to the conservative side inside of the United States, and that is putting Israel in a corner. Now, why are they trying to so hard gain back all of this now? Well, they haven't finished the job. That's why. Because they want to continue with more destruction and more killing. What did we think that it ended here? This is a tactical pause. Tactical/strategic pause. They're going to continue at one point. So long as insane people with these ideologies and these beliefs are in power, then we're talking about an entity that can commit anything, really, at any given moment. So that's why they need to secure the justification and the support, especially coming from the Republican/conservative side inside of the United States, to ensure that they would be able to get away with butchering and maiming more infants and Palestinian babies and conducting more terrorism all across the world. And they're boasting about it. I mean, Israel is boasting about committing heinous crimes all across the world. Now, they've lost it. I mean, and even when they want to brag, they expose themselves. Like they're exposing the fact that they have things all across the world to conduct operations. Then there was this imbecile from Meta who said that, oh, we are trying to, or we succeeded in Meta in banning speech that says that we control the media, because we don't. And I mean, that was funny there. She's effectively admitting what other people are blaming her or them of, by de facto doing that thing, controlling and suppressing freedom of speech. It's as if they're running out of these excuses. Now, in relation to the second phase, and of course we started by talking about the level of martyrs that were in Gaza since the beginning of the ceasefire agreement, but there are also severe warnings from the health and living conditions inside of Gaza recently. Most people don't know where their next meal is coming from. No food security, no health security, no nothing. Water is even hardly available in multiple parts of Gaza. And despite the fact that there are many efforts to make this, smoother and more easy on the population and children and weak ones and elderly, it's still very difficult. I mean, some healthcare facilities have reopened. Some of them became more functional. There is more machinery going in, but nowhere near the sufficient levels. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a controlled strategy. That is the same controlled strategy that Israel had towards Gaza ever since they imposed the siege after Hamas won the democratic elections in 2006. How? By having controlled amounts of calories going into the population. I mean, even Steve Witkoff said that they get 1,600 calories a day, as in he was boasting about that. Every person gets 1,600 calories. Firstly, liar, number one. Some people went for days without food, you hypocrite liar. Secondly, the audacity we have of morbidly obese men dictating what the people of the land, what the indigenous people can eat and how much they can eat. And the fact that Israel is not allowing the relevant number, the required number of aid to go in, is a continuation of that policy. But they feel like they are at liberty to do that now because, not many people are talking too much. Everyone almost thinks it's over, and they can continue their ongoing genocidal approach and crimes against humanity because, there are other things. So they can firstly continue to kill people. It's okay, from their perspective, 2, 3, 4, and every few weeks we'll kill 102 or 200 to make up the numbers, bloodthirsty vampires. This is how it thrives, this state, on the blood of Palestinian infants, of innocent civilians. And they continue to breach everything to do with the agreement. And again, regardless of that whole front and situation in Gaza, they do the same thing in the West Bank. Every day they are killing people, targeting. The other day, they killed teenagers again. Constant breaches. And, we can get away with it because there's no problem really. And that is very problematic. That is very, very problematic. I think the pressure must remain at an all-time high, especially seeing as some people are suffering tremendously in multiple parts. Still, this is a disaster-stricken area. This is an area that is in a catastrophical situation. The destruction, the human suffering, the lack of aid, the lack of medical aid, sufficient levels. We're talking about sufficient levels, not having a package that can last you for, hardly a day or whatever. And some people look for meals and stuff. Of course, that's dangerous. That's dangerous on its own. And again, the thing that makes it more dangerous is the fact that we don't have clarity in relation to phase 2. Saying that, the deals or the prisoner exchanges are still happening. So, for example, today, Al-Qassam brigades, the armed wing of Hamas in Gaza, they handed the body of an Israeli terrorist who was buried in Gaza to the Red Cross. That was later handed to the Shin Bet and IDF forces that are still in the yellow line. Now, according to these reports and other reports too, the Palestinian resistance again was active in areas that are witnessing Israeli presence or seeing Israeli presence, so beyond the yellow line. Now, a lot of talk is going on about 200 fighters, 200 Palestinian resistance fighters being stuck in the area of Rafah, according to multiple reports. And Israel is saying that you need to give up your weapons to go back, and that Israel is trying to bomb them or whatever. We have no verification of that info, I'm afraid. There was no clarification from the Palestinian resistance that that's the case. But unfortunately, you know, some news outlets and some people to start to publish information without necessarily getting the right sources. So who said that there are 200 of them over there? Did you have a verified Palestinian source saying that from the resistance itself? This could be a cover-up for other stories too, especially in the area of Rafah. Why? Because that's the same area that Israel is still blocking aid from. That's the still same area that Israel is using as an excuse to do what? To go and breach the ceasefire every week or two and kill 100 to 200 people. So that was very problematic. That was very that's very problematic. The fact that these things are being reported without necessarily verifying that information. Now, the fact that, well, the deal is still going and there are still some prisoner exchanges happening, and the mediators are talking about phase 2, and also the resistance as well. And we also have certain criticism coming from multiple sides towards the Palestinian delegation and others as well. All of these indicate that the process is still going. So we didn't reach a stage where everything exploded and got out of control. That is what Benjamin Netanyahu wants to do. He wants the situation to get out of hand and out of control. Now, so far, the Palestinian resistance refrained from responding to the Israeli aggression and the Israeli provocation against them, whether it's with daily breaches or with the bigger breaches. And they're doing that for a strategic purpose. Number one, well, the Palestinian side is interested in maintaining and keeping this ceasefire agreement, regardless of how fragile it is. They are viewing that to an extent, some of this pressure from the mediators is working. I mean, as a matter of fact, we have seen it being effective on multiple occasions. How effective that would be in the long run, that's really not guaranteed. I mean, Netanyahu did get several things out of the way so far that he was extending the war and genocide for, which is the primarily getting closer to the elections. Now we're just under a year up until the Israeli elections, and the Israeli prime minister, the wanted war criminal, can call for early elections whenever he wants. He's monitoring the polls. These strikes here and there in Gaza, these constant breaches and crimes against humanity and Israeli barbarity over there, is to show that he is still the boss and he's still making the decisions. But the fact that the situation in terms of the talks and the negotiations are still going indicate that there are still likelihoods of a success going into phase 2. And at the end of the day, look, who doesn't pray for that? Of course, we hope it does succeed eventually. However, it's vital to highlight everything that's still happening in the meantime, especially on the humanitarian front for the population. These were the main things that I wanted to share with you in this live stream. I'm having a couple of other videos. I posted a couple of other videos earlier on today. I will have a couple of more tomorrow for my viewers and regular members and subscribers. I will be also introducing more varied information in different series in the channel as well for you. So some interesting things happening in the future, and would love to hear your thoughts as well, or suggestions. You can share them in the chat, or send me an email, drop me a message directly. And that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening, day, or night, depending on where you are. And I will see you soon in the next video. Peace, everyone. Salam.